Good morning. We had a lot more colour for the anticipated Instagram post done this morning at the red sky of dawn. Here we have the new signs they put here for the pathway. For the trail, the hiking trail around the Sea of Galilee. So today is the last day of the year, liturgically. The last day of the calendar year is December 31st. Tomorrow is going to be the first Sunday of Advent, preparatory season to Christmas. The Chinese year is a different year. The Jewish year is a different year. So liturgically, we conclude today, and we've been doing this for the last couple of weeks, this awareness of the end of time. And sometimes the perception of the end of time is very difficult, even failing health, times of suffering, of difficulty, of trials. And this also applies to the religious life, times of trials, of suffering, of persecutions. And the words of the scriptures are words of encouragement. Excuse me. Words of strengthening. Encouragement is the key word there is core, meaning heart in Latin, putting in heart into people. And that's the purpose also of the apocalyptic literature. And the book of Daniel is one of the earliest instances of this literature that's in the centuries preceding Jesus, 2 centuries before. It's usually dated around this time of Antiochus IV, which led eventually into the Maccabean uprising. And his persecution was harsh. And caused great distress for believers, and led then to the rebellion of the Maccabees, and eventually then the rededication of the temple, which had been desecrated by those Hellenizing forces. We're at the end of chapter 7 of Daniel, which is the Aramaic part. There's a Greek part. Then later, with the story of Susanna and some other stories. And we could ask the issues about the canon of the book of Daniel. It didn't become part of the Jewish canon. And for that reason, 1500, 1600 years later, the Reformation churches didn't want to accept it as part of the canon. But the church had always read it as part of God's revelation because of especially the talk of the Son of Man, which is the last line in the Gospel today, And that's part of the religious culture, the language, the thought, the patterns of understanding of God's people at that time, and their expectation for the coming of the kingdom, which is also much the language of the book of Daniel, and in today's reading as well, that the righteous and the coming of God's kingdom will be rescued. They will be standing erect. They will be I can't find the word. They will be validated. Their path of fidelity is the right way, the fidelity to conscience. Just give me a second here. I'm going to put you down for a second here. Let's see if I get something nice for you to see. If there was a higher stand, it would be helpful, but that's okay. Put you down here. There you go. And then this literature also impacted very much the book of Revelation, which is apocalyptic in nature. And in style and in content, the terrifying aspect of apocalyptic literature reflects the fear and the anguish of the believers in front of the forces of the world that crushes their faith and belief. And these realities continue today. And this literature captures this and uses this imagery to convey the problems, but it's always finishing and concluding with the conviction that God's kingdom is coming, the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven. You see the light coming here from the clouds. This image of the goodness overcoming darkness. And therefore, do not be afraid. This logic of the scriptures always has been like this. Do not be afraid. Coming out of Egypt, do not be afraid of Pharaoh. Go and speak to him. Do not be afraid. I am with you. Do not be afraid. Be faithful. In front of Sodom and Gomorrah, do not be afraid. And so this is a whole school of spirituality, a whole school of strengthening of the human being in the face of big difficulties. Big rocks thrown in our path, and do not be